and just at base, very important. Thanks again.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Our next speaker, to move along quickly, is Tom Van Zorn, my dear neighbor. He's a retired Sleeping Bear Dunes park ranger, but has been working on correcting the situation of the Homestead Resort sewage sprays blowing into the park since it began in 1993. I've talked to people this week who had no idea this was going on. So we're lucky to have him with us, and he says to share that he's lucky to be married to Alice Van Zorn, the esteemed piping plover conservationist. Right now, Tom's going to take our questions and speak about the spraying of sewage. Take it away, Tom. Just unmute yourself.
Okay, can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Good. Okay, thank you, Carrie. Good morning, and thank you for having me. And I want to thank you all for what you do in this group. It's a wonderful group from all I can discern, and I really appreciate it. I hope you don't mind if I work from some notes so that what I say might come out coherent as compared with the alternative. I was going to try and give you a quick summary of the homestead sewage issue, but it's actually pretty complicated, and you probably don't want to sit through it all right now because we got a lot to do. It's all available at homesteadsewage.org. If you care to write that down or something, there's a lot of information there. You can start at the top and get the general overview, or you can go on down below and get more details if you want. But so I am gonna go through some notes I have here. You're welcome to ask me any questions that you might have. You're welcome to stop me or ask at the end, whatever you want. So rather than discuss the issue in general at this point, I wanted to talk at this point about the article in the Enterprise that you likely saw yesterday or the other day. And unfortunately, as things often go with news articles, it didn't really come out very well. The Homestead people were clearly primed with the message that the spray is treated and even highly treated, but which unfortunately it actually was not. After the sewage is sprayed, when it goes into the soil and the vegetation, and I'm sorry for those of you who aren't familiar with this overall situation, as I say, you can read about it, but basically they spray the chlorinated sewage out into an open field where some grasses and things finish taking care of it. But so after it's sprayed and when it goes into the soil and the vegetation, then it does indeed become fully treated. But when it's sprayed, at that time when it's sprayed, it has only been filtered to remove particulates, and it's chlorinated. Now, chlorinating does kill many pathogens, but it's not full treatment. Many harmful substances survive chlorination, and that's why the sewage that people might be exposed to needs to be further treated. And that's why the state and the Park Service agree it's a problem if sewage blows into the park. So I will be submitting a forum article to the Record Eagle shortly, hopefully to get in this coming week's paper to explain this a little bit more thoroughly. Hopefully they'll print it, but we'll have to see. I might have to reduce it to a letter to the editor or do it at a later time or something. But one other thing I'd like to be sure and say this morning is if you're interested in this issue and you would like to be kept abreast of things, please send me an email at tvzaaa, that's my initials, tvzaaa@gmail.com. And I will put you on a list and give you updates as things develop. And welcome your input and suggestions and questions and everything else. So that's kind of what the main thing I wanted to say at this point, and I know you, as I say, you have a lot on your agenda. Does anybody have anything at this point that they would like to ask me or say or anything? Well,
Questions
okay.
for Tom? I will put his email in the chat in just a minute. And then if you want to contact him on your own, you may.
Looks like there's some questions there, Karen and Kate Gallup. And are those questions?
Yeah.
Hands up,
Orange.
there are questions.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so my question was, I was just looking at the site, so I don't know totally the issue, but what is the desired outcome? Do you want them to put in some sort of other waste management treatment at the homestead? Do you want them to be blowing it in a different place? Or what is the big alternatives that you want?
Well, really, it's like any of us. We all have a multitude of options as to how we handle our sewage and other matters in our lives and our businesses. And I don't presume to tell Bob Puris or the homestead exactly what they should be doing or how. There's a multitude of other options out there. There's full sewage treatment plants, like many resorts that size would have. There's just a lot of different kinds of sewage treatment. The simplest one, it seems to me, that they could do with what they've got is they have use of these two fields nearby that they're spraying on. Well, they could simply convert that to trickle irrigation, which would not involve any spray or anything going where it doesn't belong. That's something that is done, and I'm sure that it would cost something, and there would be difficulties along the way, but that would be another option. But really, I don't presume to tell them, specifically how they should. They just need to, like the rest of us, they just need to come up with a system or that option that is legal and not causing damage or not infringing on the national lakeshore.
Deb?
Hi, Tom. Thank you. I did have to step away a bit, so I hope my question isn't something you've already talked about. But I am a founding member of the Leelanau Citizens for Sewage Safety. Do you know about us and our problems?
You're the folks in the center of the county where there's they dump the sewage in a farm field.
Yes, and the worst thing about it, Tom, is that it is raw, untreated sewage that's being
Right.
injected into farm fields directly from holding tanks from all around for whoever the hauler serves. He fills up, and it runs from 8 in the morning to 5 or later at night, 5 days a week, from April through the summer till December, when they're forced to stop. Nonstop, thousands and thousands and thousands of gallons of untreated sewage. So I'd love to join with you and work together on a countywide solution to our problems of septage and sewage.
Okay, thank you. Well, we can talk about that further.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Becca?
I'm sorry, maybe you covered this, Tom, but what government is responsible for regulating how sewage is dealt with? Also, you, Deb, with your problem, is this a county? Is this zoning? Who handles how sewage is treated? And
I
what's
have an
done-
answer, but I'll let Tom go first.
Okay,
Well, in this case, the homestead, sewage system like the homesteads is governed by a state agency. They need a state issued permit, which they get renewed every 5 years. And that dictates the way in which they can operate. This is the time when the permit is up for renewal, is the reason why the issue is of the moment. And that's why we're working on it. Let's see.
and the county doesn't have any responsibility here through its zoning or something, through its Department of Health?
No, I've talked with the county people that might be involved in relevant things. And they say, well, that's a state permit and it's really, that's how it's handled.
Uh-huh.
I'm sorry, does somebody else have something else?
I could explain to Rebecca also that everything Tom said was right, and the Eagle is the agency who supplies the permits. And our township has an ordinance that says you must have a permit first. And they were able to supersede our permit in Centerville Township. And we got lawyers involved, and the lawyer said, nope, it's legal. It's legal to ignore a township permitting
Really?
process and just do it. And I could talk to you a lot more about what we learned, but Tom's right. It's state level permitting comes through Eagle, and the person who's supposed to go out and check the site to make sure they're following the rules comes from the Benzie Leelanau Health Department. There's a sanitarian there.
Oh, yeah. What's the Eagle you mentioned?
Oh, Eagle's the new word for, help me guys. It's Great
Environment,
Lakes.
Great
It used to
Lakes.
be the Department of Quality or something. What did it used to be, Tom? It's now called Eagle.
Department of Environment, Great Lakes, or I'm sorry. Anyway,
I don't know it either, but it
Yeah.
used to be the DQR,
yeah,
right?
DEQ. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's a
Um,
state agency?
Yes. It used to be the DEQ, the Department of Environmental
Okay.
Quality, and then they changed their name and it's EGLE, whatever that stands for, something about environment in Great Lakes and something else.
And energy,
Energy, yes. And
environment,
that's-
Great Lakes energy.
Okay, I guess what I'm getting at is if you want attention, if you want mobilization on this issue, where do you mobilize at the government level to change it? If citizens don't, that's what I'm trying to get at here is it both a state, are you mobilizing at both the state or is there or
Township.
the township? But you said
Well-
township laws don't matter, that went
Yeah.
through the court and said,
We've come up with a solution. I don't want to bore everyone with it, but it will be through the township that we solve our problem. I can talk to you anytime, Rebecca, about it.
interesting. So, but again, going back to if we as a group want to mobilize, where do we do this? It sort
Township
of sounds
meetings.
like there's also a confusion at the state level as to what rules go where, who has responsibility for what. But anyway, longer story.
Becca, also his website has exactly like some actions to do.
Yeah, I'm kind of I haven't looked to it all, but yeah. Okay. Anyway.
You can get
okay.
in touch with Tom. You can get in touch with Deb if you want. Deb, you want to put your contact information in the chat, and we can mobilize around them because they're the ones who have started the work. Kate, you're talking and you're muted.
The chat's disabled.
Go
I don't
ahead.
know why it's
Sorry, go ahead. In relation to that question, I wanted to let you know that I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought.
not to worry.
Yeah.
We'll be-
Oh, well, anyway, the Park Service is very much in agreement with what we're talking about. They've been saying for years, this problem needs to be solved. And just real briefly, some history, the reason why it came about, the Homestead had a system back in the 90s, and they outgrew it, and they needed something more. The groundwater was becoming polluted, and water was seeping, or sewage was seeping out of the ground. And so everybody was desperate to solve this situation. And so that's when they came up with this idea of spraying. And the superintendent of the park, the National Lakeshore, was very skeptical, naturally, because, you know, spraying sewage adjacent to a park seems a little risky, but they guaranteed him that, or they assured him that the spray would stay where it belongs. And he said, well, conditional upon that, he would agree to go along with this. So that's how it came about. And so then they built the system, and immediately with the spraying started blowing into the park. And that's been the problem ever since.
Sounds dreadful and unpleasant and not good for anybody, particularly the environment. So everybody can start helping Tom and Deb and move forward. Any other questions right now? Thank you, Tom.